What's up, guys? It's Sam here, and I wanted to talk about why I don't know if I'm ever going to purchase a house to live in, and yet I love real estate. But before I do that, make sure you smash that like button and that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments or reach out to me on Instagram and say what's up. Now, with that being said, there's three main things why I don't think I'm ever going to purchase a house to live in myself without a bunch of caveats, right? And the first reason is, oh yeah, this tripod is sick. Link in the description. Is because it's restrictive. So if this is your first time here, thank you. A little bit of context. In the past 4 years, I've been in 4 different states, right? New York, Hawaii, Florida, and Massachusetts, right? So, and that's in the past 4 years or so. It's not, like and then I was back in Hawaii, and I've been back in New York in 2 different spots in New York, like upstate New York and Manhattan, or Brooklyn. Like, I don't want to buy real estate to live in. I just don't see a point. I want to be able to have the flexibility to do what I want to do. And if that means picking up and moving across the country or across the world, having a place that I own that is just, it just restricts me from fucking doing anything. I just don't see, excuse me, how that's valuable. Excuse me. I would much rather rent. Like, in anywhere you go, you can get a place to just rent out. And that seems way more valuable given the restrictions, right? Like, if I want to leave a place that I rent in, like this place here that I rent, if I want to leave, I just fucking leave. Give them an extra month worth of rent, and I'm done, right? And that's it. I don't have to go through and sell a house and the fucking hassle and all that crap. Like, I want to leave, I just fucking leave. It's a rental. That's it. I don't have to go through that whole process of trying to sell a house and all that crap. And this gonna touch on point number 3 a little bit, but I'll get into that one in a second, I guess. Taxes. If I enjoy taxes, I enjoy learning about them and researching them, but if you are a person or if you're a business, the government's tax code in the United States is structured in a way that is favorable to businesses, which means that there's a lot more reason to have a business, I guess you could say, and that's another reason why I wouldn't want to buy a property to live in. I don't know, why? For me, right? Like, I understand many people enjoy owning a home to live in. I don't, no. Like, you gotta fucking mow the lawn, you gotta take care of the property, like, all that kind of stuff, right? I would buy property as rental because then I get depreciation. If I'm doing the lawn, that's gonna be a business expense. Otherwise, if I live in there, both of those things I don't get as a business expense, which will lower my income for tax purposes. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to buy a property as a rental unless it makes money, right? Because somebody's going to leave a comment in the description. Oh, well, you're going to have to pay that either way. Like, I'm not going to buy a property unless I'm making money as an investment. So the snow removal, if it was up here, the grass during the summertime, the depreciation I can write off. Anything fucking breaks in the property, that's a write-off. Hiring a manager to take care of all that shit because I have better things to do with my time. right? Hiring somebody to take care of that, that's a write-off. I don't have to deal with all that shit. And if you're a homeowner, you have to deal with all that stuff. And it's not a write-off. So it's more expensive when you think about it. Right? If you have $1,000 and you're in a 30% tax bracket, if you're a personal person, if you're just doing it as a person versus doing it as a business, excuse me, and it's not something that you can capitalize, then you just paid $1,000. If you're a business and you're in a 30% tax bracket, then you paid $700. It's just how it works. The last one is opportunity. And this goes back into like moving, it goes into investing. So from an opportunity standpoint, right? If you have a property, that ties up capital in something that doesn't necessarily bring me a tremendous amount of value, right? Owning a property to live in. And like, I'm not saying that's right or wrong for you. I'm just saying for me, I don't think that's necessarily the right decision based on what I value in life. And that takes away my ability to invest in other businesses and other real estate. I just don't see that as being something that is like, if you know what I mean? I'll weigh those two things out in my head. Having a property and tying up all this capital and putting myself in a position to pay more taxes and making it a lot more restrictive, it just doesn't make any sense to me. The other thing is, from the opportunity standpoint, and I touched on this earlier, if an opportunity arises and it's in Europe, I don't want, like, think about this, right? For just a second, put yourself in a state of mind where it's like the dream job that you want is available to you in some place that might be slightly like somewhere in Europe or someplace else, right? And the income is, 50% or 100% of whatever you're making. And then think about that for 1 second. Okay, you're going to accept it, and then the thought process of like, boom, 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 what you need to do to get there, right? So you might have a kid or a family, right? So you're like, oh man, the kids and the school, and I gotta get my wife, and she's not gonna have a job, right? Well, so just figure you're gonna make 100% of what you make, so her job doesn't really matter. And what's another country, and how will I deal with all that stuff? Oh, and then I got the house, and how am I gonna? I have to sell the house. And what about, oh fuck, we have, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and every single room is filled with garbage that doesn't bring me any value. I have to take, I wish the job was here. I won't take the job. That could have been the most amazing thing that ever happened in your life, and because owning a property and putting yourself in a place that is very restrictive, in my opinion, it's very costly, both in terms of time and money and resources, to move, right? Like, I also don't own a lot of things. I don't want to own a lot of things because to me that's restrictive. I want to, like, next week if I got a job offer or the right opportunity and it was in California, like, peace, like, I'm gone. I don't. That's it. Give my landlord an extra $1,000 and I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? That's how liberating it is, having not a lot of things that hold you back, right? Because if you have a whole house, a 3-family, 2-bathroom place, and it's full of crap, and then you also have a 2-car garage that's full of shit, right? Then you're like, oh, what do I got to do with all this stuff, right? And then you think about the sunk cost, right? Like, you paid thousands of dollars for all this crap that you don't use or doesn't bring you any value at all. Whereas if you just took that money and invested it into experiences or invested it into other assets that made you money, you would be in a different spot. What's up, bro? So the restriction in terms of owning a property also goes hand in hand with the opportunity. I want that flexibility to have that resources, right? Like if you're going to put down, 5% or 10% of a property value, I want to use that for myself. I don't want to tie up all my capital. I don't want to both, not just like, okay, so say if you're going to put down 5% on a $200,000, $300,000 property, right? $300,000, you're going to put down 15%, you'll pay $20,000, right? After everything's all said and done. 20 grand, right? Like that's not necessarily a tremendous amount of money, but now it also ties up your fucking balance sheet from a debt perspective in the future on other deals that you might want to do, which is restrictive. I don't want that. I don't think that's right for everybody. If your house brings you value, then kudos, like that's awesome. I just don't think it's necessarily the right decision for me. I do think that a lot of people have a lot of shit that they don't fucking need, that doesn't bring them any value, that downsizing the property and or turning it into a rental property if possible, and where you're creative and resourceful enough, most of the times it is possible, in going into an apartment would actually bring more value and fulfillment to that person's life. Like, excuse me, getting rid of 50% of what you have and moving into a smaller place, like you can save more money and invest it. You can turn your property into a rental. I mean, to me, it just makes sense for me. Anyways, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, or as always, reach out to me on Instagram and say what's up. And I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.